Censorship, the new Puritans. These are subject matters that are complicated in many ways. But you have to understand that things like this are going on. And in many videos that we have been producing upon the months that our channel has been running, you've seen everything from porn, anime, manga, movies. I mean, you have points where warnings are put on the head of films. Understanding from a point of view, if your film has an R rating on it, wouldn't you expect it to be of an adult nature? Wouldn't you expect it to have, possibly, depending on the subject matter, violence, sex, drugs, smoking, all of the above, or whole listings on there? Why do we need a warning at the beginning apologizing for that video, for that subject matters, including subject matters that were decades old when the film was made? We don't need that. That's what the rating's for. This is why I I want the abolishment of the MPAA, because they're overstepping the situations and creating a bigger problem, like it happened back during the Hays Code era. Now, if you're not familiar with the Hays Code, that was a time period where basically during the 30s to the late 60s, films and even broadcast television, when broadcast television came to play, you had rules and regulations that you couldn't do this, you couldn't do that. You couldn't have homosexuality or being gay on a particular film. You couldn't have a couple, even a married couple, sleep in the same bed together. You couldn't have nudity in certain things. You couldn't have language, drug addiction, prostitution, pornography talked about in many of these films. And when the 1970s came rolling in, we had a renaissance of that nature. Here in 2022, censorship is leaking back in. A second Hays Code has reared its head into our lives, whether it's Hollywood, whether it's product from overseas like Japan, whether it's in the films we watch, the TV series we watch, or the comic books or mangas that we read on a constant basis. Now, since with the internet inception, we've had many different places that we could find what we want, what do we want to watch, read. I mean, there's a whole perspective of information out there, an extreme amount, and a lot of people want to remove that information or censor it because basically they don't want that information out, or they don't like the content of it. As I said, the New Puritans as well. And the reason why we mentioned that this novel, The New Puritans, what's written in this book is true to fact that what is happening out there. And this is not only happening in America, this is happening worldwide. And you've seen the title of this video, and you may say, what does that have to do with a manga app? Now, for those of you who might be on Viz or a couple of other manga app companies, and you've enjoyed them, and you've read what you can, you pay a decent price. I mean, some of them are very greatly priced. Some of them give you free stuff to begin with, couple of chapters, and then you would have to pay on there, and it's really, really good. But the new app has reared its head by a gaming company you may be familiar with it, Square Enix. And there's a controversy behind it because there is censorship on this manga. I mean, and what we're talking about is they're censoring the drawings that are on here. And you might say to yourself, oh my God, what is there, a lot of nudity on here and stuff like that? You'll be surprised what they consider to be censored by black bars. And it may shock you as it much shocked me when I first saw this. We pulled this off of Otaku magazine, but there are several, or actually there are multiple articles appearing on this. Square Enix Manga Up responds to censorship concerns. Now, this was written back on August 1st. And it was written by Danica Davison over at Otaku Magazine. Otaku Magazine happens to be a really good site to catch. If you are an otaku, if you like the anime, manga, great place to pick up a couple of these articles of what's going on in the manga and anime world. Square Enix just recently launched the worldwide version of its digital manga reading app, Manga Up. However, shortly after the app went live, people began discovering censorship in some of the manga. Japan has its own censorship laws, but this goes beyond that. Also, the censorship consists of big black bars, so it's not exactly easy to miss. Anime News Network noted that in addition to putting big bars over cleavage and panty shots, the bars are sometimes covering characters' groins, even though wearing jeans and you can't see anything anyway, and characters' knees. I'll say that again. Characters' knees, their kneecaps are being censored. This is ridiculous when you get to this point. What, are we going to expect girls to wear dresses all the way down, covering their ankles even, considering ankles would be, there used to be a time that showing ankles was illegal. And that was during the Pilgrim times. Manga Up responded with a public statement titled regarding censorship on the Manga Up app. It said, in consideration of each mobile platform's policies, some modifications were unavoidable to release the app to the whole world outside Japan. This is not limited to only English-speaking countries. We are still in the early exploratory stages and will strive to improve while listening to your feedback. In the meanwhile, some of the content available uncensored through the other official streamings, so please continue supporting the artist. Thank you for your patience. Oh, bullshit. So in other words, it seems that the fact that the app went global and in different countries and on the globe have different cultural taboos and censorship laws has caused the issue. Manga Up is suggesting that you may not want to read these titles elsewhere as long as it's done legally. Until it solves the censorship issue, Manga Up hasn't discussed a plan on how it will deal with this, but the fact is willing to tell you to read elsewhere seems to indicate understands that the censorship is going to be a deal breaker for many readers, not only the censorship. Hopefully this will get you squared away soon and readers can sit back and enjoy Manga Up without any pesky black bars. Now, not only the censorship black bars is happening here as well. If you haven't looked for the site and what they've offered, they have had situations where they'll offer you a chapter. Now, they've taken a full book. Now, depending on the book, it's anywhere from about 100 to maybe 300 pages, the situation. And mostly it can be chopped up into maybe 3 chapters at most. they have chopped it up even further into like 5 or 6 chapters and offered maybe the first chapter free, which might be 10, 12 pages maximum, possibly, and then charge you for the rest. Most companies don't even, most of the manga sites don't even go that far. These people are charging you, or as I say, overcharging you for stuff that you might, you'll only get like a pittance of. They're throwing pittance at you, They may throw 2, 3 pages, 2, 3 panels at you and say, oh, this is free. And then the rest, you'll have to pay for. And you can't even, and here's the other half, you can't even clip a copy of that particular panel if you like it. And they put blockers on that, because they say, oh, we don't want piracy. Bullshit, There are other ways of it being done. See, this is the reasons why people are driven to pirated sites. Because the main sites don't respect the manga readers. And this is a big disrespect. I mean, you have stuff like from My Dress Up Darling. Great anime. I love it. It's fantastic. Yeah, it's got fan service. She's in a bikini. You might show a little bit of butt. Some of the cosplay, because if you haven't known by My Dress Up Darling, it's about a cosplayer who meets a young man in her school that makes little Japanese dolls, real cute little Japanese dolls. His family has been making it for many years. Very well done. Well, the outfits are well sewn and stuff like that. And she asks him to make her cosplay costume, and he's never done this before. He doesn't even understand what cosplay is. He doesn't read manga or anything, or manga, but she introduces him into the cosplay world, and he happens to be great at making these costumes. Really great at making the costumes. And they sort of get into the romantic atmosphere of this. This is not a Redo the Healer or any or High School DxD, if you've seen those, and a couple of new ones that are coming out now that are a little explicit. Some are a little bit over the top. Well, there is nudity and sex. Understand? Yeah, okay, that's fine. That's not uncommon in an R-rated movie. If you've seen Crimes of Passion or many other films, that are out there that have sexually explicit on there, or any animated films here in the U.S. Heavy Metal, to be one big example. Fritz the Cat, another example of that. And it's not uncommon. Cartoons are not always for kids. Animation is not always for kids. There are many stories that you can get and to tell it to the audience. Sometimes, you might not have that money to shoot a fantastic motion picture. You might want to do it as an animation, which is much cheaper to do it. And there are many great stories out there that are shown this way. Some of them are tragic. Some of them are great action stuff. Some of them are of adult sexual nature. And it's the same thing with manga. There are many stories. And I've always said this. When it comes to manga and anime, the reason why it has done so well and is beating out the comic book industry is because there is always, and putting this very forcefully, there are always a subject matter that someone will enjoy. There's something there for everyone. Say you're a cosplayer. There are cosplay ones. They say if you like singing, dancing, there's ones out there. Cooking, there's one for cooking. You know, sports, one of the biggest ones out there. And we're talking every sport, even American, baseball, hockey, you know, they're all variations. Golf. There's a golf anime out there. But when you look at the perspective that you have a company that puts up bars, and you see it on the pictures that we're showing, where girls, okay, she's sexy, but why are you blocking it? She's not showing any nudity. She has large breasts. Are there women out there with large breasts? Yes. Are there young girls out there with large breasts? Yes. You know, we're throwing that whole premise. You know, we headed back again, that controversy, Uzaki-chan, on that manga and anime. They said, no girls look like that. There's no girls that look like her at her age. And a lot of girls came out on Twitter and said, I am, and I have a breast size that big. You've heard this many, many times. These are people that are just out of touch with reality when they start on that. You start to make excuses. They say, well, the rest of the world, we made the site, and the rest of the world have their rules and regulations on that. Well, that's the rest of the world. You can make a website for that place. You know, don't be lazy. You know, Disney has a separate site in India that they do. They put their stuff on. And many other sites have multiple sites. You know, because not everything will be watched out there. But let me ask you a question. How many countries ask for stuff to be banned on manga? Besides the major. Because I don't know, you know, South America, you hear some of the minor stuff, Brazil and stuff like that. But, you don't hear them covering up manga like this. Australia, they try to ban manga all in all, and anime, especially imports, because they're claiming it's cheese pizza, or chow pie, as they would say. This is a major problem that they consider this all there. But this is the drawings. These are the situations that happen. When you're censoring a kneecap, what is that telling you? Is there somewhere out there that was, is this in Saudi Arabia? Is this in Malaysia? Is this in Russia? What country are you talking about that wants a kneecap covered up? Is this just an excuse so you could just put censorship bars over them? What are you going to do? Charge so you can remove the censorship bars? I've heard this before. In certain places, that if you want to see more, pay us and we'll remove this bar. But this is a point where you have to look that you have a company that's charging you that you're not getting the service properly. If I'm going to read a manga called My Dress Up Darling, I expect to see it in its entirety, in its original format, unscathed by editing of the dialogue, and no censorship bars over the pictures. If I go to a store and buy the manga, is the manga going to have censor bars on it? It damn better will not be, because I will not go to that store ever again. So Square Enix, why should I sign up for your site if you're censoring product? If you're taking pictures and you're just putting over bikini-clad girls, large-breasted women, shots of girls in jeans where you're blocking the groin section and she's wearing a pair of tight jeans, that's fine. This is the censorship that we are getting around the world. This is the censorship I have been warning you. There are many other things that are going on around the world, including in the US of A. And this is why I said, this is our revolution. The fandom have to fight back. I understand there are laws in Japan, that there are laws in China, Mideast. I'm not in China. I'm not in Japan. I am in the US of A. If people are going to sit there and try to dictate laws to censor things, where will they stop at? As I said before, Hays Code 2.0. This is where we're headed to, and we have to fight to stop. As I said before, the MPAA gotta go. All these other bureaus and organizations that sit there that they say, oh, we want to ban porn because basically all the child pornography. Why don't you go after the people that are causing it? Not the sites, not the companies that are dealing business with pornography or anime or manga. Go after the actual people. And, you know, there are people that have been arrested, and we got to do more toward this. Because there are people with a lot of money out there that basically try to hide their quirks, their disgusting quirks. Leave the product alone. Leave the mangas alone, leave the anime, leave the R-rated movies, TV series, leave them all alone. We don't need them to be restricted. We are adults. If you're trying to protect children, that is up to the adults, the mother, the fathers, the guardians of the children, on what they read and what they look at on television. If the parents want to block these things from their children, that is their objective. If they're young enough, if they're old enough to read it, they're in their teens and they're old enough to read it and buy it themselves with their own money, you can't stop that. We've worked hard and long with this country, in the United States of America, for it to fall to these bureaucracies and Puritans that are just trying to take control. Let's hope that this is resolved by the voice of the people. So, comment freely below. Subscribe, like, share. I want to hear what your thoughts on this. Please do comment. And also, before we go, if you haven't noticed, we do have a website dedicated for shirts and items that we are selling to keep this channel running. Because unfortunately, to get things out to the public costs money. To keep these channels running costs money. And we do need your help. But the first thing you want to do is to subscribe, like, and share. And that's part of that is the most important part of it, is getting that voice out there. But the other half of it is to keep us going. We offer this to help us, but also you can also donate directly. It's in our description below. And the price of a cup of coffee, can help also. If you want to spend $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, that's great. That's one more step to us that assists us. Because there's a lot out there that we want to bring to you. And stories like this on Man with a Show and many other programming. We're working on a lot of content. But it takes a staff, it takes money. It's never easy. I've been doing this a long time, and it's never, people think it's just like putting up videos all day long. No, it's just, there's a lot more that goes into it. So once again, subscribe, like, share, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you for tuning in, taking this time. We will see you in the fall with new shows on there, and continue to watch. We do have other videos in this month of August. So thank you once again, and bye-bye.